We arrived in Stockholm, Sweden last night, and we schlepped our way over here to our hotel. And I didn't film last night because it was dark and a bit rainy and I had all my luggage, but Stockholm is beautiful. We really didn't know what to expect. We are staying in this awesome hotel here in the old town, which I think is pronounced something like Gamla Stan. I'm always mixing American and German pronunciation into anything Scandinavian I pronounce, so it's always a mangled mess. I really wanted to make sure that we got some traditional Swedish food while we were here. Last night we went to a restaurant and I had a shrimp salad, which was delicious. And then Ian got this kind of vegetarian Swedish vegetable thing. It was charred cabbage points, I think they called it, and had a cauliflower puree and some local mushrooms. That was very good. But today I'm having Swedish meatballs. So this is like the iconic Swedish dish that I see all the restaurants in Stockholm have, but we've come to a place called Tradition, which is supposed to be really good, was recommended at our hotel and has great reviews. So looking forward to me having the Swedish meatballs with gravy and mashed potatoes and cucumber and lingonberries. And then Ian is having Swedish potato dumplings that come with a roasted pork. And he also gets lingonberries, which he's looking forward to. Our food was delicious. Believe it or not, those meatballs were even better than IKEA. And Ian was pleasantly surprised by the potato dumplings that were stuffed with the roast pork. It was in a sauce that was a browned butter sauce. That was so delicious. Anyway, that was a really good meal. And now we're going to walk around the old town here and show you some views of the Gamla Stan. I do love a statue of St. George slaying the dragon, and this one might be one of my very favorites ever. It is just amazing. I love it. That dragon is something else. We have no idea what this sign really means in Swedish, but of course we're making up our own stories. I kind of feel like the same way I did in Florence or some of the places we visit in Austria, where just everywhere you look is something so photogenic and charming. Okay, I've now found the most touristy place in Stockholm. This street is quite busy and full of shops selling all the things. Although Mr. Churros doesn't sound too Swedish to me. But this is a very Swedish thing. Dala horses are all over Stockholm in the shops. These carved red wooden horses have a folk art tradition of over 150 years and now have come to symbolize Sweden. But now I've found my favorite store. First there's this tray with hedgies, and the littlest one, who hasn't grown into his ears yet, is just melting my heart. And then over in this window, look what's here. I mean, honestly, this is my kind of place. They even have magenta scarves. Ian is in love with this building. So first we've got this door that has wooden inlays. Surrounding the door are all these cast stone figures, which look like they each have very interesting stories behind them. There are cannons on either side of the door, and the whole building facade is really quite beautiful. But then we're just spoiled with beautiful things all over here in the old town. This building was constructed in 1630 as a palace for someone who I think had something to do with the Masonry Guild, but my Google Translate is a little wonky. There's a half marathon going on here today, so we've got a bunch of runners coming in. I think this is pretty close to the finish line, actually. Another cool doorway with an awesome door. And more statues. I love this face. We came here to Cafe Schweitzer to have some pomegranate orange juice and a yummy grilled sandwich. This amazing place is a house of nobility that was built in the mid-1600s and is yet another building with an amazing statue. This Ritterholmen Church is the oldest preserved building in the city and the only surviving medieval monastery. It was built by Franciscan monks in the late 1200s. And it's got some pretty unique metal gargoyles, which I thought were interesting. These cobblestones around the Gamla Stan of Stockholm are the most difficult cobblestones to walk on that I think I've ever encountered. Because of my German heritage and Ian's interest in German, we stopped by this German church. The church is known as St. Gertrude's Church, and it was founded in the 14th century in this area, which was historically dominated by Germans. Services are still conducted here each week in German. On the outside, it's known for its brick steeple and copper-covered spire. But I was most enamored with the interior, as I love a Baroque-style church. I am always fascinated by the surprises I find in each church I stop to explore. I think walking up these stairs to that gilded glassed-in booth is where the VIPs sit. And they can open up those windows and see the priest preaching from up on this pulpit to the rest of the congregation here. There's amazing organ pipes up there. But then, look over here. Those organ pipes. That's pretty amazing. Very gold. I spent a lot of time admiring the stained glass windows, as I found the scenes of family life in the country very beautifully captured. And I don't know what this window is, but it looks like a scene of someone on their deathbed from 1911. Even though Old Town is so touristy, you still frequently turn a corner and just have an alley all to yourself. I really fell in love with the Gamla Stan. I just couldn't stop filming the lovely narrow streets and the charming squares dotted with cafes and museums. This one is home to the Nobel Prize Museum. And it's also delightful to turn and walk down a wee street and discover a view of the water at the end of it. The Royal Palace in Stockholm is one of Europe's largest and most active royal residences. Located in the heart of Stockholm, on the island of Stadsholmen, in the historic district of Gamla Stan, the palace has been at the center of Swedish political and royal life for centuries. The palace was at first a fortress in the 13th century, designed to control the waterways, but it evolved from defensive stronghold into a royal residence and administrative center. During the 16th century, under King Gustav Vasa and his sons, the medieval fortress was transformed into a Renaissance palace. It became a symbol of Sweden's growing power, especially during the 17th century when Sweden emerged as a major European empire. But then a devastating fire in 1697 quickly consumed the old castle. Plans for a new palace had already been under consideration before the fire, led by architect Nicodemus Tessin the Younger. Tessin designed a monumental, symmetrical building in the Baroque style. Construction began at the end of the 17th century, but took over 50 years. The royal family did not fully move back into the palace until 1754, during the reign of Adolf Fredrik. The finished palace features over 600 rooms, making it one of the largest royal palaces in Europe still used for official purposes. Unlike some European palaces that function mainly as museums, Stockholm Palace remains the official residence of the Swedish monarch, currently Carl XVI Gustaf. While the royal family primarily lives at Drottningholm Palace, Stockholm Palace is used for state ceremonies, official receptions, and daily administrative work. It is also home to several museums which are open to the public. Today, the Royal Palace stands as a symbol of Sweden's long constitutional monarchy. It reflects the country's transformation from medieval kingdom to European empire, and finally to the modern democratic state it is today. In just one building, Stockholm Palace encapsulates over 750 years of Swedish history, making it not only a royal residence, but a living monument to the nation itself. There are two places on the Royal Palace, this place honoring King Oscar II, I believe, that have these waterfalls, these big boulders, and then this man-made waterfall with fake stalactites.
Stockholm Cathedral is one of the oldest buildings in Stockholm and sits right in the heart of the medieval Gamla Stan. It dates back to the late 1200s and has been the stage for major royal moments, including the 1976 wedding of King Carl XVI Gustaf and Queen Sylvia. Architecturally, the cathedral blends brick Gothic origins with a later Baroque makeover in the 1700s. Its peachy exterior doesn't necessarily portray the medieval origins of this important building in Stockholm's history.
We were just so lucky to score this free hotel here in the Gamla Stan, the Old Town area, because it's right next to the Royal Palace and all of the amazing sights to see in the Old Town, as well as you just look across the water and you see the island with all the museums, the island with all the posh homes. It's really a perfect location for visiting Stockholm. So we totally lucked out.
This is what you call rush hour in Stockholm. Just crazy. I love it.
It was really easy to navigate around Stockholm on the public transit, so we would definitely be happy to come visit again. On my next visit to Stockholm, I definitely need to have more time to visit museums and more room in my suitcase for shopping. We're coming to this famous food market, and nothing says food market like a giant leg of human. We've taken one step in the door and already everything looks and sounds amazing. Even if the food were mediocre, the architecture and the layout, this building is really impressive. Oh my goodness.
It's a freak show.
These are like sea monsters. These are smoked salmon rolls, which I have never seen anything like that before. They have Quick's cheddar, which is made near us in Gloucestershire. I love these names, Drunken Dog and Femme Fatale. I love crazy names for cheese. Ian is trying the buffalo yogurt. There are so many bakeries selling these kind of knotted up either cinnamon rolls or cardamom rolls. And on these packages, it says Swedish fika, which is kind of their coffee break in the afternoon ritual where they eat pastries and drink coffee. I thought this walnut pastry looked good, and Ian thought he would prefer the almond and marzipan one. So he ended up getting both. Ian might have to try this Betsy gelato. Looks like it's award-winning and looks very delicious and freshly made. This is the next food hall that we're going to, the Hotel Reisen. That's some big bananas and steak. That's some good-looking gelato. Except it breaks the rule, never buy ice cream from a place with blue Smurf flavor. All right, this market did not win points with me when I noticed it has a Pizza Hut. Finally, a place with falafel. All kinds of interesting berries, dried berries here. I don't know what those are, but these are blueberries, lingonberries, and goji berries. Love those. These are obviously cranberries. That looks like Basque cheesecake.
That looks really good.
It does look good. We came here on our last night in Sweden to Café Kladdkaken, or however you pronounce it. Because the kladdkaka is the sticky chocolate cake that is famous here in Sweden. And our son Weston, who is a chocoholic like his father, introduced us to this cake and told us that it was just the most amazing thing ever. So we each got a piece to enjoy here in our hotel room before we leave Sweden tomorrow morning. The restaurant is of course named after these classic chocolate cakes, but they had several variations on the theme, including a sea salt flake one and a Dubai chocolate one, which is the big fad these days. But we went for the original sticky chocolate cake, so I'm gonna give it a try. It's good. It's got kind of a brownie batter flavor to it, like a brownie that's not fully cooked. It's delicious. It would be even yummier warmed with a scoop of vanilla ice cream, but we are enjoying this as we say farewell to Sweden. I'm so glad we had the chance to come visit Stockholm, and I hope you enjoyed coming along to see this little peek of Old Town, the Gamla Stan, with us. Thank you so much for watching this video, and do something good in the world today.